All right, we're going to get started here. Greetings, I'm Ted Porter, Vice President of Human Resources at Formula Boats. On behalf of the Porter family and the entire Porter team, welcome to our friends in the press and the media, our vendor partners, to our future Formula owners, and to our present Formula owners, both here and watching online, who make all this fun possible. I want to give a big shout out to our Formula team back home in Decatur, Indiana, who are participating live at the factory in our team gathering. Team members include the engineering staff that helped develop the 400 SSC and the talented production team who crafted her. We're happy you are celebrating with us back at home.
Did you say go now?
So right now we've got, on the live feed, we have a camera of our folks back home. All right, it is my pleasure to introduce Formula's exclusive designer, John Adams. John graduated from the University of Cincinnati with a degree in industrial design. He went to work for Formula for a design firm, and Formula was one of his first assignments in North Miami, Florida. The rest is history. For several decades, John has continued to evolve the Formula design and has created the finest design craft available today. We are here today to launch the latest masterpiece, the 400 SSC, which follows its very successful 430 SSC. And I'm excited to share that John is currently working on 2 new boats that will debut in the next couple years. As I invite John to take you on a tour of the 400 SSC, I ask you to join me in a toast to the 400 SSC, John Adams, the entire Formula team responsible for being here today. Toast. Hear, hear. John, please share your newest creation with us.
Thank you, Ted. Well, for the last 3 years, I've been privileged to help in the launching and the introduction of new products for Formula, adding to her overall luxury fleet of boats. Starting 3 years ago with the introduction of the 430 SSC, which is Super Sport crossover, followed by the ASC, which was the All Sport crossover, and then today, the 400 SSC. Also, in our fleet of crossovers, we have the 330 and the 350 CBR. So as a total, we have 5 models in our crossover line. Now, one might think that this is a new concept for Formula, but in fact, the DNA of these crossovers were formed over a quarter of a century ago. That sounds better than 25 years, doesn't it? A quarter of a century ago, we basically had an incredible line of offshore performance boats and cruising boats, all very performance-oriented. And we thought that why can't we take these 2 types of boats and perhaps marry them together and create a boat that had the performance features of our offshore boats, meaning deep V, performance styling, and take some of the amenities and the creature comforts from a cruiser and put it into one boat. Well, the result of that was the 280 Sunsport, and you all, some of the media may remember that boat. It was a spectacular boat. It was incredibly introduced by the public, and that obviously created enthusiasm within the company to go and proceed with that concept going forward. That boat got refined further, and we came out with a 330. Then with further innovation and refinement, we developed the 370 and the 400 Super Sport. The 400 Super Sport is perhaps the most successful boat that Formula has ever produced. And from there, of course, the evolution continued and the refinement continued, technology came about, and all that ended up in the 330 and the 350 CBR. From there, again, continued refinement. We developed the 430 SSC and the ASC, and of course, we're here today with, again, further innovation, further refinement, further commitment to our philosophy of design and maintaining performance with incredible detail and luxury in this 400 SSC. Obviously, as the name implies, she's 40 feet long with a 12-foot beam. The maximum power is quad 350 Merc outboards. This boat max out about in excess of 60 miles an hour. That's 60 miles an hour plus with half fuel and 14 people on board. And that's what this boat's all about. It's all your friends and family enjoying a great day of performance boating. Also, I might add, and it's kind of a little awkward to even mention this, but this hull, along with the 430, are the most efficient hulls we've ever produced, even better than the 382 Fastech, believe it or not. And again, that's because we've been able to, again, continue to refine and, take that Fastech technology and just, advance it and create with better performing hulls. It seems like of late, every new hull we've developed is better and better. And again, I think that's because of our commitment to understand the technology, advance it where we can, and adapt it where we can to produce the best possible boat. Also, the styling is very important. Again, we've been known over the years to be a company that really commits itself to consistency of design, regardless if it's a cruising boat, a sport boat, offshore boat, or our new crossover boats. Again, formula styling is unmistakable. You can't deny what a formula looks like on the water compared to perhaps some competitive boats. The other advantage that we have is that we're able to incorporate technologies which you see today. For example, all the LED embedded lighting that you can see, which is very popular in the high-end automotive industry, and we've certainly adapted it here. Although the styling is very consistent throughout our line, on the crossover product line, we've decided to take a couple elements, small but very important, and that is these winglets, we call them, in the venting. Again, those details will change from all the models, from the 330 all the way up to the 430 series and even to the new 400. We do that to really adapt a bit of a different personality to the boat. Relatively slight, but very important. Again, it's kind of an automotive design trick where you take the grills or some other feature and style it a little different as the models become more involved. And we certainly do that here. One interesting thing about these winglets, as we call them here, is that not only does it create this very attractive, blue lighting, as you can see here, which is embedded in the LEDs, this is actually a separate component and allows us to remove that in production. And through our Formula Flex program, and I don't know if you're familiar with Formula Flex, but if you're not, you need to go to our website and research it. It's a fantastic program where we allow our customers to really look at a unit like this, and basically through the library of colors that we have available to us, they can paint this in. Well, this is the standard metallic silver, but they can match the flagship, they can match an accent color, or they can make any color they want. And we think that's a very valuable tool, satisfying the need for our customers to be very unique and do something very special. So that's basically the exterior cosmetics of the boat. Right now, I'd like to do a quick little overview of the boat itself, starting with the swim platform. Again, this has become a design trademark for Formula. All of our boats really address this area as being very, very important to not only the character of the boat, but the functionality of the boat. As you can see, she's very huge. It's a very civilized way to board the boat. You're not entering a very small platform, but you got a lot of room. There is an optional sport rail. You can see it on the 430. It's exactly that same component. But if you look at it, it's well padded. It has cup holders. It not only gives you a sense of security psychologically and really practically, but it's a great place to stand here, perhaps sit your cocktail in the cup holder, watch the sunset, Key West, or maybe here in Newport. And anyway, it's just a neat little feature. Also, the size of the swim platform was accomplished for two main reasons. One was to be able to come in with devices, as you can see here in these little inserts, for paddle boards, windsurfers, bicycles, any toy that you want to put here, and still have room to maneuver on the swim platform. As opposed to a smaller platform where if you started to put those toys on here, there's no really room to move around. The second most important feature of the size of the swim platform is that it literally extends the feel and the scale of the cockpit itself. It becomes part of that environment. It's not a visually separate feature in the boat. And we do that obviously by opening up the entire back end of the boat. And that's a strong design criteria of our crossover boats. Openness, you're outside, you're enjoying the day of boating, and take advantage of every square inch of it as you can. Over here we have a utility locker. And it's very similar to that on the 430, but what's nice about that is that we can board the boat and I can activate all the power systems of the boat, the batteries. I don't have to go forward and find a battery switch. I don't have to go into the bilge and crank one of those old dated battery switches. Everything is right here. It's very nice, plus all the other function that we incorporate in this one unit. We also have integrated into that utility locker is a grill, and we have a lid, very nice, that extends the work surface. And again, you know, we're hung up on styling, good design, and great little features, but we're also interested in the practicality of things. The idea of doing this here, putting the grill back here, is that we don't want it up in the huge galley. We want it back here where it makes the most sense. Plus, he can stay out of her way when she's up perhaps doing some things. He's back here grilling. It's the natural way. So anyway, we're happy about that. Again, storage has always been a very important feature on all formulas. Glass line wherever possible, beautifully detailed. Everything is, you can see a lot of complexity with starboard and so forth. That's really engineered to be able to fit the fenders. Everything nests properly. You don't have to worry about where you put them. They're not all over the place. And so, you know, we spend quite a bit of time thinking through those kinds of issues. Again, you can see more of the embedded lighting here, not only down at the toe kick, but behind the nameplate of the boat. Going forward, we have the sun lounge. We have you know, various positions that the backrests can go into, so you can be them both forward for lounging or back for seating up here. One thing that's really, I think, incredible about this boat is that when I'm sitting here, we have full beam seating capability. When you're sitting here, you can't imagine this boat is only 12 feet wide. It feels like 13, 13 and a half, maybe even 14. And of course, we think that's really nice, again, keeping with the concept of luxury day boating. The only drawback to that is that when you have a lounge this big, you've got one big table. Well, we solved that problem by actually powering the table out of the cockpit floor. So you can raise it up and down depending on what level you want. You can bring it to the point where you can put cushions in it for additional sun lounging, or obviously for dining, or all the way down to really open up the cockpit. Again, you'll notice all the very nice lighting that we have, the sure shade, power sure shade, which is nice, of course. And check out the detailing here where we have the embedded LED lighting that basically the shape reflects the contouring of the leg of the coupon itself. Again, we're kind of paralleling accents and repeating them where we can. Again, it's a nice design trick that really is very sophisticated and looks very nice, of course. Going forward, we have the galley, which is up underneath the coupe top. Again, it is centrally located between the aft cockpit and the forward cockpit. That's where you want it. Again, you want to stay out of the way of the people enjoying the back of the boat or the front of the boat. It's well protected. It's huge. Again, the theory here, like in the 430, is that we don't want the you know, the people in the boat to have to go down into the cabin to prepare something and bring it back and forth, going in and out of the cabin. We don't want that. Everybody wants to be up here. She or he doesn't want to go down there. They're not involved in the conversation or the activity of the boat, working away, putting together a little cocktail party or whatever. You're up here. And in doing so, we can actually create a much larger galley than we ever could down below. Big refrigerator, great storage. Again, thinking of the practical aspects, you know, we even have a huge trash can. If you can imagine the 12 or 14 people that could be on this boat when we were running it at over 60 miles an hour, you can imagine the beverage cans that might have been accumulated, and you need a large trash can to be able to handle that. So we're happy about that. What do I do here? Oh, there we go. Paper towel. Anyway, Hideaway Sink, which is kind of nice. Again, we're kind of, you know, we're sticklers on clean detail, sophisticated design, even to the extent that we have an interesting little detail here where we pull down the armrest, and that exposes 110 outlet and the jack for the TV. It'd be much cheaper and easier for us just to smack them here on the side of the boat, but that's not formula. Again, it's one of those things where, you know, it's hidden, of course, but again, I think it's well worth the effort to go ahead and do that. Very sophisticated. Up in the helm area, oh, before I do that, I have to admit that we've been Yeti-fied, is that the word? You know, we're into the Yeti thing. And over here we have an actual compartment that slides out with your take ashore or bring ashore or whatever with your cooler. And again, that's part of that practical thinking that we try to utilize here at Formula, in that we understand that when people come on the boat, they want to bring cold beverages. They can't wait for their refrigerator to fire up or whatever. So again, it's very practical. Again, going forward, we have the helm. What's interesting about this helm is that this is our latest design. And in years past, we would effectively design I call it zip-de-doo-dah helm design. It would be very, perhaps ornate, a lot going on. And then we would come back and try to fit the electronics within that shape. This design was actually developed with many, many hours of work where we laid out all the electronics where they needed to be, considering human factors, the ergonomics, the variety of electronics that we offer. We're not a company that has, you know, an A and a B electronic package. It is just countless what we can provide the owner. And in doing so, we have to take all that in consideration. Once that's done, then we create the structure just to hold it together. The result is, I think, an excellent example of form following function. The other thing that we did in being a new design, again, you know, everything has to evolve. Everything gets refined, and every time we do a boat, it gets better, regardless of its size. We're not going to punish a boat because it might be a little smaller than a previous boat. We're going to do everything we can to advance the styling and the design, the technology, and the craftsmanship that we have at Formula. This particular design is kind of inspired by consumer electronics, and it's got a floating panel. And there's a good reason why we're doing that, other than just it's very attractive. But again, has a very clean look. The helm, the monitors themselves are integrated into the panel. Very smooth. Again, as I mentioned, it's very consumer oriented. Should I move my champagne? That's probably not the right thing. Anyway. The other reason that this design came about without the eyebrow and so forth being a floating panel is that I think you would all agree with me that we're not so naive to think that things don't go wrong. Things need to be serviced. Sometimes things break. And you could perhaps spend as much in a service facility just getting to the part to replace it or to maintain it than what the part probably costs. So what we've learned, and it was developed through some work that we'd actually done on our offshore boats, but we actually have a release device down here. I have to remove the champagne, very important. Do not drop the champagne. And again, this all opens up, exposing all the black boxes, which are probably next to the motors and a few other items, are the most expensive things on this boat. And again, it's great to come in and be able to service this, do any repair work, exchanging the components. And again, we actually had to engineer and develop the hinge system to allow this to work in such a fashion. But again, it's something that, again, we think about beyond just beautiful styling and even performance. Performance, comes in all kinds of packages. It's not only speed and how she handles the seas, but it's how it performs entertaining, how it performs in terms of service and getting to things to repair and so forth. So again, we're quite proud about that process, and we're liable to see this expand into other models as we do going forward. And like I said earlier, we don't hold back. When we do something we think is beneficial, it'll be appealing to the consumer. We'll carry it through as far as we can. But again, that's the evolutionary process that we use at Formula. Over here, we have again a floating panel. It's really the glove box. As you can see, we have a compartment here that is dedicated just to iPad storage. We even have a place right here that you can dock your cell phone, which is kind of nice. It puts it at the right angle, so when I'm running the boat, if I get a phone call, I can not answer it because don't bother me, I'm on my Formula, but at least you know who's calling you in. And it has a USB port here for charging. So again, it's kind of multi-purpose there. And again, those little features that might not mean much, and quite honestly, a lot of times they don't cost that much, but they mean a lot to the consumer, and that's what we're interested in. Okay, going forward, we have, again, great storage. And in keeping with the theme of thinking about everything, even the blender has its own little compartment that it goes into. It's one thing to offer the customers all these neat little items, but where do I put them? How do I keep them out of the way? Or do they end up being someplace where it interferes with other storage? So we dedicated things, not only with the blender, but the rope locker here, which is vented, and we even have a large locker forward that is not only bulk storage, but a dedicated area for the TV, which mounts in this little receiver right here in the top of the galley. Another feature which is innovative in this boat is the sliding windshield, which again is very user-friendly, and again an improvement that we wanted to be able to incorporate in this new 400. Going forward, obviously we have the forward cockpit. And that's what makes this boat so special. Again, we have two major cockpits, all one level cockpit floor. Going forward, huge bow rider section, fold down armrest and cup holders. Again, stereo system dedicated to just this zone. Again, the beautiful thing about Formula, I think, in my opinion, the craftsmanship of our upholstery is one of the best, if not the best in the industry. We're very proud of what our people can do back in Decatur in terms of the upholstery work. Going back here, by the time our buyers get to this point, they're ready to put ink to checkbook. I mean, they love the boat right here. They don't have to go any farther. And I think a lot of it's because perhaps they think of this as being part of the dash, but it's actually the door that goes into the cabin. And again, down below, we'll let Danny go on down there, and I mean, they're literally taken away when they finally go down to the cabin after they've been through all this. Once they're down there, they'll see a large wraparound U-lounge where the backrests hinge up for incredible storage behind that. The forward backrest lifts up to increase the bed size because the lounge does convert into the secondary sleeping area. Behind the backrest, we have a very, I think, clever device of actually storing the table. It's actually elevated up above, so you don't have to take the table, move it to get to storage and so forth and so on. It has its own dedicated, that's the key word, dedicated storage. You know, everything has its place. As we pan to the starboard side of the boat, we'll see the galley. It's smaller than this, but it's proportional to the cabin size. There's no reason to put a huge galley down there, but we think we want one for the same reason we have one here. If you're down below enjoying the boat, why do you want to come up here to get a beverage or fix a little snack? Do it all down there. She has a microwave, sink, great storage, same kind of idea of the trash and so forth. And there's a large TV on the bulkhead for TV viewing in the lounge, positioned in the right location. On the port side, we have, I call the service pylon. That's a neat little detail where we have the air conditioning controls, outlets, the docking station for the iPad that is provided with the boat. And again, it's a nice little detail. Below that, we have the distribution panel. We have a hanging locker. And again, more storage. The boat has incredible storage capability. And then, again, back over to starboard, we have the full-size stand-up head. Again, beautifully detailed. More of that embedded LED lighting. It's everywhere. Matter of fact, this boat, it's got a boatload of LED lighting. You can quote me on that. Our boat has a boatload of LED lighting. Anyway. So back in the back, we have the queen-size bed. Again, there's a secondary TV if one chooses. Again, great storage. And again, more of that really attractive lighting that goes across the aft bulkhead. So that's the quick tour. You know, I would hope you'd have an opportunity to explore the boat by yourselves. If not, if you get an opportunity later during the show, please come by, and we'd be more than happy to give you a one-on-one tour. The one thing in summary that I'd like to say is that our crossovers, especially this 400 new SSC, checks all the boxes they're required to really develop and produce the most perfect, luxurious luxury day boat. It has the huge swim platform, obviously outboard power, fore and aft cockpit, flush cockpit floor, large midship galley, beautiful, helm, very impressive, power shade, power sunroof, and equally, if not more important, the coupe styling with a full glass windshield. So again, we're very happy to introduce this boat. I think, as Ted mentioned, first I heard about it. We got two more in. You need to tell me these things. I got to get to work. But anyway, looking forward to it. Let's see what we have next year. And again, thank you very much for spending time with us today. And look forward to having you board the boat, perhaps, and see a little bit more of the detail. Thank you.